It's been a year and a half since 2042 launched in a disastrous state, and since then, the developers have released a slow trickle of content and balance patches that have many, including myself, returning to the game. There are many things to enjoy about the game, including crisp gunplay, vehicular destruction, and a level of chaos that's generally unmatched by any other game outside the Battlefield franchise. Chaos is my favorite thing about Battlefield, feeling like I'm one small cog in the piece of the war machine that is raging around me. The mode that most makes me feel this chaos in 2042 is Rush XL. If you're unfamiliar with Rush is one of the core game modes of Battlefield that normally pits teams of 16 versus 16 against each other. One team assaults a duo of objectives heavily armed with explosives, determined to blow up the enemy ENCOM stations, while the other team entrenches themselves to stop the incoming tide of infantry. I know many people in the past that have exclusively played Battlefield for the chaos that Rush offers. Rush XL bumps this fun up to epic proportions, and there are now 64 players on each team. That's a massive 128 players fighting each other. Coupled with the nature of how the maps are designed and where the MCOMs are placed, you can end up having massive firefights with dozens upon dozens of enemies in view. I love the feel of playing support and throwing my heals and ammo into a huge crowd and gaining massive points, or managing to pinprick my way through the enemy's defenses to flank as hard as I can until I'm inevitably defeated. I've never had as much fun as I've had in the Battlefield franchise as when this many players are clustered relatively close together. Hearing the explosions and watching the sheer thickness of the tracers flying overhead is truly awe-inspiring sometimes. Breaking through the enemy defenses and arming an ENCOM yourself is so much more immensely satisfying than capturing any objective in Conquest. The multi-kill and kill streak potential with this game mode are truly incredible for high-skill players that know the game. I've seen ridiculous streaks on the scoreboard, and I'm not just talking about kills. Some people exclusively play this mode as a pacifist, with just running around resupplying people, rezzing people. It's crazy, scouting, it's insane, and they're still at the top of the scoreboard because they know how to play the game well. Now, that's not to say that this mode is perfect. Some of the maps in this iteration are not everyone's favorite, with the shit map coming to mind. Many of the people high on the scoreboard are spamming explosives such as the XM3 or the SPH into clustered choke points that there really isn't a lot of other option to go around. Many of the maps are heavily infantry focused, so vehicle players will not be very happy here. But to me, this mode is meant more for infantry players, with Conquest being more for vehicle players. Maybe that's why I like it so much. With that being said, this mode is just awesome in my opinion. It's been my dream since I was a kid when I saw a trailer for MAG to take place in massive Battlefield shooters. I wanted to immerse myself in the kind of sim that let you be on the battlefield amongst so many different people, yet make yourself unique through your choices of gear combinations. Battlefield has always been the game for me that closest creates this experience with their class system and massive player counts. In my opinion, this Rush should have been more focused on rather than Hazard Zone or Portal. Those modes are cool, but Rush has always been a core part of the Battlefield franchise since Bad Company, and I feel like innovation was lacking with it. Imagine if they had added Levolution-like events to certain Rush maps, like being able to trigger a landslide on a mountain to cut off a certain flank if the enemies are abusing it too hard. Or imagine a map that was a series of laboratories where chemicals are being experimented on, and a segmented code would spawn on randomized computer screens every match. If 4 different people managed to get a piece of the code and then enter it at the same time at a different computer, they could release the chemicals on the defenders or attackers. Or maybe imagine that you're an engineer and you have to scale a radio tower to fix it with your repair tool, and it has a huge repair time. But if multiple engineers work together to repair it, you could use a transmitter to call in AI reinforcements from transport helicopters as an artillery barrage goes off to cover their landing, or something like that. I think that would be really cool to be an engineer and have to micro between fixing the tower, defending the tower. I think that would be really fun in order to have like a team optional objective like that a certain class would have to repair or interact with, and that would make the class more valuable for that map. I do want to cover different cool things of this nature that they could do with maps in a different video, so make sure to sub if that would interest you. I'm not exactly sure why Rush XL is a limited time mode, and it actually always makes me a little bit sad when I log in and see that it isn't there, as it's genuinely my favorite mode. Maybe some people would argue that having it would splinter the player base too much, but I think if anything, it would increase player count by having two awesome modes available at all times. If you think they should make Rush XL a permanent game mode, then you should hit the like button so we can collectively let the devs know what we want. If you don't, let us know why not in the comments, because I truly would love to hear the arguments against it, not out of a place of wanting to argue, but just wanting to understand. But that's it for me. Peace, guys. Have a good day.